AITAH for kicking my daughter's father out of her wedding. Let me start by saying I don't normally ask this question, as I'm definitely in most of the time, but in this instance I'm conflicted. From the beginning, my ex and I were only together for a short time. He was abusive both emotionally and physically, and our relationship ended with me escaping with my 5-week-old daughter and a bag of clothes while adorning 2 black eyes, a broken nose and a split lip, which I still have the scars from. Yes, I called the cops and he was charged with assault, and I went through the courts and have a permanent protection order against him. Since then I went through therapy and raised my daughter alone until I remarried 12 years ago to the love of my life, and we now share a 10-year-old son. I had remained close to my ex still through this, and she had visited and stayed with me several times. I also allowed my daughter to have a relationship with her father's family, and she had visited and stayed with them from the age of 10. She had asked over the years why we split, but I told her that I would explain it when she was older. That happened when she was 13 after coming home from visiting them, and her aunties decided to trash talk me and tell lies. Little did they know that I kept a copy of the court case, including theirs and ex's statements, which he admitted to the physical abuse, and his sister had outright lied in court. I also had never spoken about or trashed them to her, so now she has the truth. This whole time her father had gotten progressively worse and ended up homeless on the streets, succumbing to his addictions. He had ignored my daughter for most of her visits and has never spent any time with her. My ex-Sil that I still loved tragically passed away, so I allowed my daughter, who was now 15, to stay and support my ex-Sil 2 young girls through this awful tragedy, and she grew closer to her grandfather. My daughter has an uncanny likeness to ex-Sil. I have spoken to her grandfather on a few occasions and was happy to support them having a relationship. She never got close to her father, as he never got his act together and still doesn't to this day. Which brings us to the wedding day. The family flew to our city for the wedding, and her grandfather asked to meet with us before the wedding. We happily hosted him, and had a great night getting to know each other again. I asked my daughter if her father was here too, and she looked away while saying, "Nah, I don't think he's coming." Well, I took a few days off work before the wedding, thinking my daughter would want some help, and spent every minute helping with the final arrangements up until we got to the church. I arrived early as I had decorations for the aisle I wanted to finish. We had already agreed and had the rehearsal where her grandfather and I would walk her down the aisle. I stood at the halfway point where her grandfather handed her to me. Then they arrived. And he walked in with them. I haven't seen this man in 21 years. He hasn't been at any of her important events, never bought her Christmas or birthday presents. Never saw her play sports or her performances, but here he is on her wedding day. I froze on the spot, and a wave of panic washed over me, and I just wanted to run, but looking out over the seats I see me family and husband, and I know I can't just walk out, I can't just abandon her now. So I looked down and tried to distract myself with the final touches, but my blood was boiling. At this moment my ex-Phil approached me and went to hug me. This was my breaking point, and I put my hand up and told him, "No, don't touch me." I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, "Me, what is he doing here?" Ex-Phil, he was invited. Me, and you didn't think to mention this the other night? Ex-Phil, I thought you knew. Me, no, I didn't, and he has no right. He's been absent for her entire life, and you honestly think I'd be okay with this? Or did you think I would just suck it up? Do you think I'm some doormat that you and your family can just walk all over and I'm expected to just put up with it? There's no way in hell I'll allow him to be honored as the father of the bride. He's a pos who isn't worthy of my daughter, and there's no way in hell he gets to take the credit for the amazing woman she is now. FK that he's got some nerve turning up now. Ex-Phil, it'll be okay, we'll keep an eye on him. Me, if that pos comes anywhere near me or tries to talk to me or put his hands on me, this will be an absolute shitstorm, and I promise you this will get ugly. This was when my husband stood up and stood by my side. I wasn't yelling by the way, so no one else heard, but my family were watching and they knew I was mad just by the look on my face. My ex Phil then apologized, but I told him not to bother as his son never apologized and it's far too late for that now. He then asked if I would forgive him. The audacity. I told him it's too late for that and forgiveness is for chumps and that mother effer can burn in hell for all I care. I then told him to leave me alone. The wedding went on as planned and I put on my best front, and didn't look at him once. When I sat back down, my husband took my hand and held on to me. It took all my strength to not cry and scream at them. I just kept telling myself to hold it together, he can't hurt me, he can't get to me while my husband is here. He didn't turn up to the reception, which I was grateful for. I suspect the rest of his family thought there'd be some showdown if he did. They were right, because he told them if he just got to talk to me everything would be okay. My daughter apologized for not telling me but expected me to suck it up for her wedding. I told her I felt blindsided and backed into a corner. If she had told me then, I would have discussed boundaries with ex-Phil and we could have all stayed in our lanes, but to expect it on the day without warning was unreasonable. I put on a brave face and pretended everything was okay, but honestly I just feel emotionally spent and I'm running on empty. My daughter messaged me yesterday wanting me to go to dinner with her for Mother's Day, but I just don't trust her to not put me in a compromising position again, especially since they were still here, so I just ignored her. She messaged again today and I just told her I was too exhausted to go out, which isn't a lie, and she said she understood. I just need some space from her. I can't stop crying and I don't know why. I guess I'm still tired from the late nights and early mornings from the past 4 days. My friends and husband tell me I was justified in my reaction, but I don't know. They're my friends and family who always have my back, so I'm asking you, Reddit, was I the R? Did I overreact? Should I have put aside my fears and sucked it up?